You're listening to the Digest This podcast, and I'm your host, Bethany Cameron. There's a lot of talk about lead and heavy metals in protein powder, in chocolate, in the foods we eat. And surprise, surprise, there's actually more heavy metals and lead in produce and things grown in the ground, root vegetables, sweet potatoes, carrots, kale, spinach, but they're not talking about it because guess what? You can't patent those things. It's not like a formulation, like it's not branded, right? Like produce is produce, and it's also going to be different from sweet potato to sweet potato, right? Because it's grown in the ground. And these minerals, they're essentially minerals. They are in the soil, but you can definitely have too much of it. Obviously, lead and other types of heavy metals, cadmium, etc., not good for you, but it's in the ground. And so if it's grown in the ground, it's going to have some type of heavy metal content. So today I want to talk about how we can mitigate that, how we can detox, not just like full on detox, but every day, right? We can implement these different tips and strategies so that if we are, let's get real, we want to eat a whole foods diet, right? So if we're eating things that are grown in the ground, it's whole foods, it's great, but we also want to be detoxing in the right way. And we are bombarded with these chemicals and toxins from the air we breathe, the water we drink, where we go, the gas in the air, just the environment and all of the things. And so our bodies can do so much naturally to detox, and we really need to implement these tips that I'm going to share to help our bodies detox a little bit more, especially if we are experiencing some heavy metal toxic symptoms, which I'm also going to share in case you do want to be aware and be on the lookout of what to know if you are experiencing heavy metal exposure. Can we be honest about the holidays? Life does not slow down. We just add late nights, big and fast meals, and extra stress on top of everything else. That's when our sleep takes a hit. We're wired at night, we drag in the morning, and we definitely feel it the next day. Am I the only one who's experienced this and suffered through it? I mean, let's get real here. Yes, that used to be me every holiday season. That is until I started taking magnesium every single night. And not just during the holidays, but every night all year long. Now my sleep is the same during the holidays as it is during a typical month. But again, let's face it, I don't have those either. A typical month doesn't exist anymore, but what does exist is every night I have the best sleep whenever I take magnesium. I am so grateful Magnesium Breakthrough from Bioptimizers exists. Unlike other magnesium supplements, this one has all 7 forms of magnesium our body needs to support it through sleep, stress, relaxation, and yes, proper daily bowel movements. Now, here's what you get as a listener. Go to bioptimizers.com/digest. You'll see a limited time special on their best-selling Magnesium Breakthrough. This exclusive offer gets you 30% off Magnesium Breakthrough on your first subscription, a free 30-count bottle of their enzyme support, the Sleep Guide Blueprint, again, that is free, and the regular price for this offer, just to let you know, is $72, but for a limited time, you can get it for just $28. That's a total savings of over $44 when you use code DIGEST. If you're there during the 12 days of wellness sale, you can also grab select daily deals on other products with savings up to 32% off while you shop. If the promo has passed, you're still covered with my exclusive code DIGEST. That's always getting you at least 15% off. So lock in your sleep and support your body. Go to bioptimizers.com/digest and get your Magnesium Breakthrough today and the limited time free gifts. A lot of people are living with mold right now, and I know people have ripped open their walls to find it, spent thousands of dollars hiring mold hunters, and even moved homes due to the mold. But What if your home wasn't actually the cause, but what's inside your home? I'm talking about your mattress. Many people are living in a quote mold free home, but sleep on a dirty mattress, accumulating mold right under their nose, or should I say their body. Every single night. We spend almost half of our lives on our mattress, and if it's filled with mold, you are making yourself sick nightly. Your health is worth it. That's why I always recommend Birch Mattress. Their organic latex is hypoallergenic and antimicrobial, which means it's not susceptible to molding and accumulating harsh microbes, and their carefully selected materials act as a natural barrier to dust mites. Nobody wants mold growing inside their mattress now or in the future. So take charge of your health and get a non-toxic mold-free mattress from Birch Living. Go to birchliving.com/digest for 27% off site-wide. This is exclusive for listeners of Digest This. That's birchliving.com/digest to save 27%. And when you're shopping for a mattress, that's a huge savings. All right, guys, let's get into it. So, heavy metal poisoning is the accumulation of various heavy metals in our body. Environmental and industrial factors expose you to high levels of heavy metals every single day, including the foods that you eat and even the air that you breathe. Some of these metals, such as zinc, copper, and iron, are good for you in small amounts, but overexposure can lead to heavy metal poisoning. Depending on your level of exposure, medications given intravenously under medical supervision can remove these toxins. These medications, they bind to the metals, which is a process called chelation. Chelating medication can be administered through IV or taken by mouth, and the medication will bind with the metal in the body and exit through the urine. Your doctor can test your blood, urine, and hair to measure metal toxicity. And if your doctor won't do the test when you request, there are self-pay options online, such as walkinlab.com. And they range from $78 all the way up to $850, depending on how many tests you want to do and the depth of them. So, but the average cost is around $200. But again, this varies, and it's just the prices that I gathered from walkinlab.com. And there are other online testing companies that you can go to as well. But I do like Walk-in Lab. I've done it myself for different things that, my doctor is not going to prescribe to me. And I'm just curious for like food allergies or heavy metal testing or whatever, like hormonal testing, they have it all. So if you go to walkinlab.com, that's a great source. And they have pretty much every kind of test you can think of. It's not like overly priced either. Now, let's talk about the symptoms of heavy metal poisoning. So, long-term exposure to metals can, of course, be toxic, causing harmful side effects that range from headaches to organ damage. It's important that you seek medical treatment immediately if you find out that you do have heavy metal toxicity. Symptoms of heavy metal poisoning, they of course vary depending on the type of metal you're exposed to. Mercury, lead, arsenic, and cadmium are some of the more common overexposed metals. Acute symptoms associated with these metals include headaches, abdominal pain and cramping, nausea, vomiting, diarrhea, fatigue, and difficulty breathing. Now, in more severe cases of chronic heavy metal poisoning, you may experience symptoms including burning and tingling sensations, chronic infections, brain fog, visual disturbances, insomnia, and paralysis. Now, if you have these things, I don't want to alarm you, because just because you experience these symptoms doesn't mean you are um, poisoned by heavy metals, but these are very common symptoms. So it's just something to be aware of. As mentioned, many people get a buildup of heavy metals in their system because of the foods that they eat. Some studies suggest that you can prevent overexposure to these toxins by avoiding certain foods and eating other foods known for taking heavy metals out of the system. So let's get into that and take a look at the research on foods to eat and avoid. The foods that can help you detoxify by getting rid of heavy metals from your body, they bind to the metals and remove them in the digestive process. Eating foods high in vitamins and minerals can have protective effects for those exposed to heavy metals. These specific foods to include, aka eat, are cilantro, that's my top fave, garlic, wild blueberries, lemon water, spirulina, chlorella. Chlorella is another favorite of mine. That's a great detoxing agent. Barley grass juice powder, curry, green tea, tomatoes, and probiotics. Also, if you aren't getting the recommended daily intake of vitamins, you may want to consider taking some sort of a supplement to make sure that you are in check. I've got good news for all my chocolate lovers, which is like everyone, am I right? Did you know that real authentic cacao helps support the microbiome? This is because the polyphenols in quality cacao act as prebiotics, feeding beneficial gut bacteria. This promotes the growth of good bacteria like lactobacillus and bifidobacterium while helping to reduce potentially harmful bacteria, leading to a more balanced gut environment. Our gut bacteria converts cacao's polyphenols into beneficial anti inflammatory compounds that can be absorbed into the bloodstream. Guys, this is a symbiotic relationship. But there's also bad news. Not all cacao is created equal, and most on the market don't even contain any polyphenols. Even the quote, good quality organic cacao powder you may be paying top dollar for just doesn't have what our bodies and gut need. But there's one company who tests their cacao powder specifically for polyphenols and rated the top overall, and that's Santa Barbara chocolate. I have been a consumer of Santa Barbara chocolate since 2017. Yes, you heard me. 2017, and I am still a customer today. Their premium cacao powder is high in polyphenols, antioxidants, flavonoids, and of course, all the delicious goodness. And the icing on the cake, they test every single batch for heavy metals and lead, and they came back as the top brand with little to none detected. It's a win-win if you ask me, and you know how much I love cacao powder and I use it in all my recipes. There's no sugar in their powders, just pure rich cacao powder with several options, including my favorite, their red cacao powder, which has higher fat content and it's incredibly lush. No need to add sugar. Just put a tablespoon into water for a thick, sugar-free hot cocoa. Add to smoothies, baked goods, make chocolate pumpkin pie, heck, even make my viral scrambled egg chocolate pudding. There's no limits with Santa Barbara chocolate. If you go to santabarbarachocolate.com and use the code Little Sipper, you will receive a discount site-wide. Again, that's LILSIPPER to get a discount on your entire order. Once you try their red cacao powder, you'll never go back. I have a question for you all. What's antibacterial, antimicrobial, anti inflammatory, contains antioxidants, improves oral health and digestive support, and contributes to wound healing? If you guessed Manuka honey, then you're absolutely right. Every time I talk about Manukora honey from New Zealand on my Instagram, I always get messages from my followers telling me how much they appreciate me introducing this ancient healing honey to them and their family. A little goes a long way, and this honey should be saved for medicinal purposes, not baking into cakes or cookies. It's something I always have in my pantry because it never spoils, ever. And a tiny teaspoon daily is all you need to get the endless benefits both internally and if you apply it externally on your face for breakouts or even burns, its potent healing powers work wonders. Manukora honey contains 3 times more antioxidants than your typical sweetener and the special antibacterial compound called MGO. The higher the MGO count, the more of these antibacterial compounds exist in the honey. It's hard to find Manuka honey with an MGO above 500, but Manukora guarantees an MGO of at least 850. Now it's easier than ever to get Manukora honey. Just head on over to manukora.com/digest to save $70 on their starter kit, which comes with an 850 plus MGO Manukora honey jar, 5 honey travel sticks, a wooden spoon, and a guidebook. That's manucora.com/digest to save $70 plus $25 worth of free gifts. That's manucora.com/digest. Now, vitamin B, B6, and C deficiencies are associated with poor tolerance of heavy metals and easier toxicity. So, vitamin C has been reported to have chelating effects on iron. This was an animal study. I want to point out this is an older animal study, but B1 supplements were shown to decrease iron levels. The US Food and Drug Administration doesn't monitor the purity or quality of supplements like they do for drugs. Big surprise. Disclaimer: you should talk to your doctor before trying a supplement to make sure it won't interact with any medications you're taking. Now, let's talk about the foods to avoid. Remember, an effective heavy metal detox includes more than just incorporating healthy fruits and vegetables to minimize the effects of heavy metal poisoning or prevent it altogether. You need to eliminate some foods from your diet. This is especially true for processed foods and excess fats. Yes, I said fats, and I'll get into that. But these foods have minimal nutritional value. And I don't want to say minimal because, again, I'm going to go into the fat issue. But specifically processed foods, they have very minimal nutritional value, and they slow down the detox process. Now, this is because fats, now when I want to talk about fats, I'm talking about bad fats. I'm not talking about avocado or olive oil or anything like that, right? But these bad fats tend to soak up the harmful substances you want to remove, okay? So keep that in mind. Some foods to limit or avoid in your heavy metal detox diet may include rice, specifically brown rice, because it's often containing arsenic. Some fish, such as the larger types and long living fish, as they tend to contain more mercury, especially if it's canned. Alcohol, I think that's a no brainer. And then non organic foods, right? And then also chocolate. Now, especially non-organic chocolate, be sure that you get it from a good source and that they test for heavy metals. Now, even if it's not organic, I personally would prefer non-organic chocolate, but they test for heavy metals and are in the clear, right? So they have little to no heavy metals in their chocolate, even though they're not organic. Now, I get mine from Santa Barbara Chocolate. They tested the lowest out of all the chocolates tested in a third-party review, and I've been a consumer of Santa Barbara Chocolate since like 2017. It's amazing. My code, I believe, is still active. It's a little sipper, LILSIPPER. That'll get you a discount off of their chocolate and cacao powder specifically. I'm a huge consumer of the cacao powder. They used to have 100% zero sugar chocolate. I think they discontinued that now because I don't see it on their website. So I have to get it from a different source, which is sad, but I still do contain their cacao powder, which is amazing. Now remember, heavy metal poisoning can trigger a number of harmful side effects, and if left untreated, it can be life-threatening. So follow through with any recommended medical treatment. Talk to your doctor about how dietary changes can help protect you from heavy metal exposure. And also remember that it takes time to detox and safely remove these metals from your body.
Are you ready to rock middle age? I'm Dr. Tina Moore, Gen X truth teller and holistic physician. On the Dr. Tina Show, one of Apple Podcast's top alternative health shows, I share what actually works for metabolic health, hormones, and strength, backed by decades of clinical results, not trends. From loving the gym and hitting your protein goals to peptides and microdosing GLP-1s, it's all done the right way, not the hype way. Because menopause doesn't have to suck if you're fit. New episodes every Thursday, produced by Drake Peterson and Wellness Loud.
It's possible. So be encouraged if you are dealing with it or concerned, and before participating in the heavy metal detox diet or any type of thing, remember, of course, always consult with your doctor or dietitian to discuss your options. And I would highly suggest to get tested. Again, you don't have to go to walkinlab.com. You can go to like anywhere, but you can ask and see if maybe your insurance will cover it. Maybe you can go to your doctor and say, hey, look, I'm having these symptoms. Can I get tested for like heavy metal poisoning? And maybe your doctor will say, sure, yeah, let's do it. So I would definitely try that route first. And if they're not going to do it, or if your insurance is not going to cover it, then you can look for alternative means. But I think getting tested, having that peace of mind is the first step. And then, of course, obviously be conscious of what you eat. And then, we can't live in a bubble, of course. But I think it's knowledge is power, right? And you can't make informed decisions without being informed. Thanks for listening to this episode of Digest This. If you enjoyed this episode, please leave a review in your podcast app to let us know. If you're ever wondering how you can support me and this podcast, sharing it with your friends and family is the best way. This is a Wellness Loud production produced by Drake Peterson and edited by Mike Fry. To check out more shows by my team, go to wellnessloud.com, and to email the show, message us at digestthispod@gmail.com. See you next time. The content of this show is for educational and informational purposes only. It is not a substitute for individual medical and mental health advice and does not constitute a provider-patient relationship. As always, talk to your doctor or health team first. I have a question for you all. What's antibacterial, antimicrobial, anti-inflammatory, contains antioxidants, improves oral health and digestive support, and contributes to wound healing? If you guessed Manuka honey, then you're absolutely right. Every time I talk about Manuka honey from New Zealand on my Instagram, I always get messages from my followers telling me how much they appreciate me introducing this ancient healing honey to them and their family. A little goes a long way, and this honey should be saved for medicinal purposes, not baking into cakes or cookies. It's something I always have in my pantry because it never spoils, ever. And a tiny teaspoon daily is all you need to get the endless benefits both internally and if you apply it externally on your face for breakouts or even burns. Its potent healing powers work wonders. Manuka honey contains 3 times more antioxidants than your typical sweetener and the special antibacterial compound called MGO. The higher the MGO count, the more of these antibacterial compounds exist in the honey. It's hard to find Manuka honey with an MGO above 500, but Manuka guarantees an MGO of at least 850. Now it's easier than ever to get Manuka honey. Just head on over to manuka.com/digest to save $70 on their starter kit, which comes with an 850 plus MGO Manuka honey jar, 5 honey travel sticks, a wooden spoon, and a guidebook. That's manuka.com/digest to save $70 plus $25 worth of free gifts. That's manuka.com/digest.